What's up guys, Joey here with YugaTech, and we're definitely not done yet with the Xiaomi CC9 Pro, or better known as the Mi Note 10. We're putting it up against one of its main competitors both in specs and price, the OPPO Reno 2. So right off the bat, both phones look and feel pretty and elegant with their glass backs and nice curved edges that make them easier to grip without feeling uneasy. At the back of both devices are the rear camera modules. That's a protruding penta camera setup from the CC9 Pro and a quad camera setup flush under the glass of the Reno 2. You'll also find the Reno 2's O-Dot, whose purpose is to lift the smartphone very slightly off a surface to prevent the camera lenses from getting scratched. Up front, the CC9 Pro gets a small dewdrop notch for its selfie camera and front speaker, while the Reno 2 boasts a notchless display that's possible thanks to its shark fin pop-up camera module on top of the phone. On top of the CC9 Pro is a noise-cancelling mic for loudspeaker and an IR blaster. On the right side are both phones' power buttons and SIM trays, plus the CC9 Pro's volume rocker. That's a hybrid dual SIM tray for the Reno 2 and a dual SIM tray with no expandable storage options for the CC9 Pro. On the left side, nothing for the CC9 Pro, but for the Reno 2, located here is its volume rocker. Situated at the bottom are both phones' downward-firing speakers, main microphones, USB Type-C ports, and headphone jacks. All in all, both phones are tough and elegant. They both have their own unique flair, and despite being more of mid-rangers, they surely feel more like flagships. Of course, the Reno 2 has no notch, so it's a slight plus, but either way, you're getting great design for both phones, so for this category, it'll just have to be up to your personal preference. After all, design is subjective. Now checking out display. The Mi CC9 Pro has a 6.4-inch AMOLED screen with a resolution of 2340 by 1080. We also get Corning Gorilla Glass 5 protection on this one. On the other hand, the OPPO Reno 2 has a slightly bigger 6.5-inch AMOLED display with a resolution of 2400 by 1080. It, however, has better protection with Corning Gorilla Glass 6. Generally, you get great display quality between the two with their AMOLED screens. You can expect vibrant colors, deep blacks, and good outdoor visibility as well. They're quite up to par for overall quality, with just a slight edge going to the Reno 2 for having slightly more vivid colors. The CC9 Pro does have a 3D curved edge like the ones we see on Samsung flagship phones, so if you're into that, then this phone's got it. But I won't deny that the Reno 2's full screen display gives you a more immersive experience, especially when watching videos or playing games. There's no notch in the way. So for display, again, they're both awesome, but I'm giving it the Reno 2 for its slightly more vivid quality, Gorilla Glass 6, and the absence of a notch. For audio, both phones' single downward-firing speakers can get really loud for a small to medium-sized room. Both produce decent sound quality as separation between the mids and the highs are present, but lows are more often than not absent. For a better listening experience, do take advantage of either phone's headphone jack. Moving on to performance. Powering both these phones is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G chipset paired with an Adreno 618 GPU. Our CC9 Pro has 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage, while the Reno 2 edges it out with 8GB of RAM also, but also a generous 256GB of internal storage, which by the way you can expand by up to 256GB more via microSD. For day-to-day use, both devices can handle multitasking and other basic tasks very smoothly. We didn't get any stutters even playing heavy games, although under the highest graphics settings on games like PUBG and ML, we got a minimal amount of frame drops. We ran both devices through our usual benchmark tests, and here are the results. As we can see, there's not that big of a difference between the two since again, we're running the same chipset. You get good performance either way you go, though there is a slightly quicker response for the CC9 Pro, but this can probably be attributed to better software optimization and slightly faster storage speed. So for this, it's gonna be a tie. As for software, both phones run on Android 9 Pie out of the box, with MIUI 11 skinned on top for Xiaomi and ColorOS 6.1 for OPPO. Both skins are different approaches to Android with different UIs, but both are pretty customizable with smart features and customizable apps. The Reno 2 can be used with an app drawer home screen, while there's no option for that for the CC9 Pro, but then again, just like design, we all have our own preferences with software, so we'll leave it up to you guys. But for us, MIUI edges out ColorOS in terms of aesthetics and usability. Checking out batteries, we got a massive 5260 mAh cell from the CC9 Pro with support for 30W fast charging, while the Reno 2 carries a 4000 mAh cell with support for 20W VOOC Flash Charge 3.0. So by the looks of it, I'm pretty sure we all know who the winner is in this department, but to give you specific numbers, in our standard video loop test, the CC9 Pro yielded a total of 23 hours and 47 minutes, while the Reno 2 got us a total of 18 hours and 37 minutes. However, for charging, it's always good to know that both of these phones support fast charging tech, but it's clear the CC9 Pro takes this category easily. In our experience, it can last up to 2 days on moderate use. For biometric security, you can unlock both phones via their in-display fingerprint scanners as well as face unlock. Their fingerprint scanners aren't the fastest we've seen, but they still work really well as long as the screen is clean. Due to certain animations on the CC9 Pro, however, the Reno 2's fingerprint scanner works more snappy. For face unlock, they're generally quick, but of course expect them to struggle under low light. Also, consider that the Reno 2's pop-up camera slows down the process, so for security, I believe it's a tie again. Now for cameras. The CC9 Pro boasts a penta-camera setup composed of a quad-bayer 108MP main shooter, 12MP telephoto which serves as the 2x zoom, a 5MP telephoto that serves as the 5x zoom, a 20MP ultra-wide and a 2MP dedicated macro sensor. Meanwhile, the Reno 2 features a quad-camera setup composed of a 48MP Sony IMX586, an 8MP ultra-wide, a 13MP telephoto, and a 2MP depth sensor. On the notch of the CC9 Pro is a 32MP front camera, while on the Reno 2's shark fin is a 16MP front camera. Starting with these two photos taken with the main rear cameras, in this case the CC9 Pro does a better job at preserving more details, especially in the upper part of the window. Nonetheless, both produce good colors, which is evident when we look at the leaves. Now for the second set of shots, it's really beginning to look a lot like Christmas here in our office. And in these shots of our Christmas tree, they honestly look about the same, except that the CC9 Pro produces a little bit more vibrant hues. Just a little. When we switch things up to 2x zoom, things have changed. We get a brighter shot from the CC9 Pro, while the Reno 2 managed to be consistent with its quality. But even at 2x zoom, I like that Xiaomi still preserves more details. Switching over to 5x zoom, we still get the same results where the Reno 2 is consistent with its color reproduction while the CC9 Pro has amped up the brightness. But damn, just look at the sharpness and quality we get from Xiaomi here. Compared to the Reno 2, it still doesn't look like it was zoomed in as much since we get a lot of more details, especially on the star. Now checking out ultra-wide, we get a wider field of view from the CC9 Pro. The Reno 2 looks a little bit brighter now with cooler tones, while the CC9 Pro is warmer. Now for these, we're using the high resolution modes for both phones. That's 108MP for the CC9 Pro and 48MP for the Reno 2. We get the same color reproduction approach where Xiaomi falls for warmer tones and OPPO goes for cooler ones. But focusing on the amount of detail, of course, without a doubt, we get more from the CC9 Pro with that high resolution sensor. Now here are night shots without night mode turned on. Immediately we can see that the CC9 Pro's AI adds more general brightness while the Reno 2 doesn't do anything fancy. When we turn night mode on, both do a great job with the CC9 Pro again looking a bit brighter, since aside from the AI brightening the shot on its own, the shutter is also open for longer and we get higher ISO exposure. Taking a look at these portrait shots from the rear cameras, the CC9 Pro does a slightly better job with subject background separation, though both phones do it well. However, the CC9 Pro also does a better job with RL skin here. There's more detail captured and colors are more natural looking. Now for portrait selfies, both of these shots have a good bokeh effect, although if we focus more on my hair, you'll notice that the Reno 2 missed some spots. Nonetheless, quality-wise, we get a softer photo from the Reno 2 and again a sharper one from the CC9 Pro. Now in these shots of Justine, we get the same approach here where the Reno 2 gives you a more raw, natural looking shot, while the CC9 Pro looks sharper and something you won't need to edit as much. Lastly, here are selfies of Miguel in low light. Both honestly look pretty grainy, but we still get a clear shot of his face. We also get here the same effect where selfies on the Reno 2 look softer while it's sharper on the CC9 Pro. Okay, so after all this assessment, I'm gonna say that the Xiaomi CC9 Pro takes the cake for cameras. The amount of detail you get, whether front or back cameras, is just greater. Its AI scene recognition is more effective, but that's not to say that the Reno 2 is bad though. It's also got a pretty good set of cameras. Alright, now let's wrap it up. We got our Xiaomi CC9 Pro from a shop called Shundi, priced at 26,200 pesos. That's for 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage. On the other hand, the OPPO Reno 2 comes with an SRP of 28,990 pesos. And for that, that's 8GB of RAM and 256GB of internal storage. Now, with the Reno 2, you get a better display experience, but with the CC9 Pro, aka the Mi Note 10 Pro, you get better cameras and a much bigger battery. If you're looking for performance, both these phones have the same chipsets, so it's pretty much a tie there. So it comes down to cameras, software, and battery. So unless you're a fan of MIUI, you're probably better off with the CC9 Pro, but we suggest waiting for the global version, which is the Mi Note 10. But if you do opt for the Reno 2 instead, you know what you're missing, but still, it's a very good upper mid-range smartphone. I mean, both these phones are. So, what do you guys think? Are you going for the OPPO Reno 2 or the Xiaomi CC9 Pro, aka the Mi Note 10? Let us know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit the bell icon to notify future uploads, and be sure to visit YugaTech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. This has been Joey, and I'll see you guys in the next one.